We'll get to Antonio Brown's next destination in a minute, but first, a couple of big plays from last night. Grizzlies-Rockets. Daniel House jumps from outside the key.
This is one of those Daryl Morey finds. Daniel House, nobody saw him coming this year. All of a sudden, he's a major part of the Rockets' rotation with all their injuries. Texas A&M product. Go get it, young fella. Nice win for the Rockets at home last night.
Celtics and Nets. Jaylen Brown driving down the lane delivers the big-time left-handed tomahawk jam, Nick.
This was when it looked like the Celtics might come back from 27 down. They couldn't. The Nets end up winning the game. Jaylen Brown then has a few spicy comments after the game, maybe direct.
Am I becoming a Nets fan? Are they playing?
Yes.
All right, I think I am. New team, see?
Sure.
Duke, Syracuse, Zion Williamson doesn't give up. Perfectly times this block. Watch it.
I couldn't have enjoyed this game more. My guy Zion has a monster game, but my alma mater, Syracuse, wins anyway. Best of both worlds for your guy, Nick Wright.
It's Syracuse Traffic Department. If you guys are looking for Nick Wright, hey, man, we're at 1185 6th Avenue.
Man. Hughes's Elijah Hughes launches from the other side of the court and nails it. Syracuse pulling off the big upset.
It's a huge upset. I can't believe you just did that to me, see. That's a real thing that I got to deal with, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to get you some real
They won't let me get a license in New York City because of warrants from when I was in college.
Syracuse,
they're like, you got to go up to State Street in Syracuse. I'm like, no, I do not.
Back to the NFL. While Steelers are not among the 4 remaining teams in the playoffs, Antonio Brown is still making headlines. Last week, team president and owner Art Rooney II said it wasn't likely AB would be back next season. So where could he go? Jerry Rice thinks he should go to San Francisco and says that's where AB wants to go. Take a listen.
He wants to come here really bad. He's talking about running the hill with me, doing all that, and just working out, just picking my brain. And, I don't know if it's going to happen because it's going to be up to Kyle Shanahan and also John Lynch. But I'm all for it if they want him to come on board, and I'm looking forward to I would be looking forward to passing some of that knowledge on to him and being around this guy because I know he's a great individual.
CeCe, should the Niners trade for AB?
Well, the Niners need a wide receiver. I mean, they needed a wide receiver last year. I thought it was a position with the salary cap and Jimmy Garoppolo, all these expectations, people thinking, oh, man, they're going to be a playoff threat based on the run that they went on at the end of the previous season. Like, that's a position they got to get better at. They have one of the best stories in the NFL going right now, and this goes by the name of George Kittle. He's an amazing tight end. I mean, he ripped up the NFL, broke the yardage mark. I mean, he consistently for the last year and a half, 2 years has been outstanding. If you put another wide receiver with him like AB, and I don't like the fact of how he's coming there, but I do like the fact that maybe he'll make an adjustment for the rest of his career. Maybe he'll open up his eyes because I just don't see a lot of people being in a better situation from a wide receiver standpoint than how they support in the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers. They play 3 receivers most of the time. They got a Hall of Fame quarterback. They got a great offensive line.
They throw it all the time.
They throw it all the time. All the time.
They have a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah. And that's one of the key components to be able to reach your potential. So, yes, it would be a good fit, only if he's going to make some changes, because I know the things that he did to Ben Roethlisberger. I know Jimmy Garoppolo is not ready for that type of stuff. So I believe there has to be some growth on AB's part. But from a football standpoint, they need a wide receiver. They got salary cap space, and he's under a contract that's very friendly for the organization that takes him.
And a contract that's not very friendly is Jimmy Garoppolo's. And they've got a lot invested in him, as financially speaking. And you know what? He's played 12 games, a dozen games since college. He needs, when he comes back next year, they've got to give him support. They have to give him the softest landing possible in order, in my eyes, for that to turn out successfully. They made a big bet on Jimmy Garoppolo. 5 years, $137 million. I know they front-loaded it. I know that's the going rate, but that's only the going rate for starting quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo, we got to make sure he is a quality starting quarterback in this league, and asking him to do it with, even with as good as Kittle is, with no real threats on the outside, it's not fair to him. And so if you can get arguably the best wide receiver in football, particularly for a team with John Lynch, I like some of his moves. He also, you'd have to trade a first-round pick and then some. we're not yet sure if John Lynch is a great drafter. So here's a one that you know would be a successful first-round pick, Antonio Brown. Like, there's no hit or miss. There's no how does that project. And it is year 3 for the Lynch-Shanahan combo. They're yet to win 7 games in a season. Like, it can get late early now. And so if you can go get players of Antonio Brown's caliber do not typically come available. This is a Khalil Mack tier player in the league. He's coming available because of red flags off the field, obviously, but I would absolutely be involved in this conversation.
And let's not forget, you're going against the L.A. Rams, you're going against Seattle Seahawks, you're going to need some firepower. George Kittles and Garoppolo do need some help. So trying to win that division, you're going to need some players like him.
How much of how good Antonio Brown is because of the things that CC laid out, is because he had a great quarterback who didn't miss, because they threw the ball so many times, because the organization fully supported his off-the-field behavior. I mean, how much of who, and I know he's a transcendent player, but still a lot of it is because of how much he was supported.
Well, listen, if I may compliment my partner here for a moment, it's the very rare wide receiver that can put up monster numbers with bad quarterbacks. And see, he didn't always have bad quarterbacks, but he had a lot of them. So how much of Julio's success is Matt Ryan, right? How much of, we can go down the list, how much of DeAndre Hopkins this year was Deshaun Watson? Like, well, a lot of our best players have had the best QB wide receiver combos. There's been a QB on that side of it. AB, of course, he's benefited from it. But I watch him, man. I watched Jalen Ramsey in those Jags games last year blanketing him. And AB somehow in the playoffs coming down with that play. I watch him in the playoff game against Cincinnati catch a ball in the back of the end zone and get his head taken off and hold on to it. Like, his skills transfer everywhere. He is a great player. I know you say 99% of guys are system players. I don't know a system on the field that won't work for Antonio Brown. Now, maybe off the field he needs support and he needs to do better, but on the field I think he works everywhere.
Yeah, 99% of us, and AB, it's still true. AB still needs a system. You know the reason why he needs a system? He needs a system that he can be free to freelance. He has a lot of routes that right now they convert. If they play press on him, I know it because I know their system. Those routes are converted to go routes because that's the strength of his. Other wide receivers, they might keep those routes on, call it and run it because of their skill set to run out. Now, what he is he's exceptional short area, has unbelievable short area quickness. He's ridiculous off the bump and run. You can't bump and run him 30 or 40 snaps a game. In traffic, he has unusually, for small hands, he has great catch radius for a small speed guy. And another thing, he is tough. Now, he can go across the middle. He can run shallow crosses. He can take the physical punishment. And he is motivated because of what's going on in Pittsburgh. So these are the things the organization would be getting. So not only the 49ers, they would have a great deal of interest, but watch for Tampa Bay with Bruce Arians. Deshaun Jackson said he don't want to be in Tampa Bay anymore. Watch Bruce Arians because he had some success and he knows how to deal with players like him. Look for Emmanuel Sanders. He's reached out to him to potentially bringing him to Denver, where Emmanuel Sanders, they could hook back up where they were roommates in Pittsburgh early in their career. And I believe that he could be that veteran to be able to push AB to that different level. So I believe there's a couple good landing spots for Antonio.
And wherever he goes, no matter the questions about the guy, his work ethic will go to the top of that team's depth chart. His work ethic, even amongst hard workers, is legendary in this league. He will bust his tail to get better and to stay at this level. It's all the other stuff that has made a guy who was on a clear Hall of Fame track available via trade for a team that is still trying to win.
Okay.
It's no different than doing this show, Jenna. If you want to do this show, you need a wide receiver. It's okay, but you just need a little couple special
little maintenance.
Not to tell the people. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't want to tell the people, or you do want to tell the people?
Yeah, no one
way.
at this show works harder than me.
Oh.
C is a hard worker, but we'll let that go.
Coming up, how much pressure is on Carson Wentz? I'm still smiling to live up to Nick Foles. That's next on First Things First.
Jenna, you work.
I'm not trying to say how much.